Testing 1, 2, 3, testing. Hey everybody, how you doing? Happy Monday. Welcome to the new week. Everybody's working for the short week in the US here because it's Thanksgiving week here. And welcome to the .Net stream. I'm Aaron LeBeau, developer advocate at CoachSpace, primarily focus on mobile technologies. We're going to play a little bit .Net 8 in Maui. It was released last week. Congratulations to all the folks at Microsoft that worked on the Maui project. Our friends David and Maddie, they're pretty awesome people. We're going to play around with this little sample up I've been working on here. I'm going to hydrate real quick here. All right, let's get down to it. Been working on a sample application for a while now, and been trying to just put all the pieces together, pick the technology. That's what the last few streams have been about. We're going to do a shared code base with both Maui and with Uno, and that's what I'm going to start with, and then maybe add some more later. Kind of kicked around different ideas for like how do I want to handle things like messaging and MVVM and all those kind of things. I've decided on the idea of using the Community Toolkit MVVM package. And the simple reason for this is that it just seems to work really well. It's very similar to Prism, and I've done for Prism in the past, and really easy to add in the packages for that. So I'm using the Community Toolkit MVVM library and the Community Toolkit Maui library also. Now, Community Toolkit has nothing to do with Maui per se. You could use it with anything, so I could use it with Uno, for example. And of course, I work at Couchbase, so we're going to do a mobile application here with a database, and so definitely have to have Couchbase Lite in there for that. I've written a couple tests, and I've went back and forth on how I want to handle just my simple mock authentication service. I want to emulate the trueness of authentication, which is chaos usually, in the sense that you just don't know when it's going to come back. So I'm using the messenger service to send messages back to the mobile app when it's done authenticating a user. And that is provided via the Community Toolkit. So that actually messaging comes with the, a very light messaging system comes with the Community MVVM Toolkit, which is kind of neat. So let's see this in action real quick here. We'll see where my code left off this weekend. I worked on this a little bit this weekend. Let's see here if hopefully everything builds. Worked this on my laptop. So this is a Mac Studio, so I just pulled the code down to it. This is fresh, but I mean, it built last night or a couple nights. Yeah, last night when I was working on it on my laptop. So it should build here. I would say that builds are a little, I mean, I'm running on a pretty ridiculously beefy machine here, and builds do take a while on the both .NET and Uno side. I mean, obviously it's doing a lot. This is trying to do a Catalyst build specifically here. And you can just see here, it's just building. You know, if you, I miss Visual Studio for the Mac. It used to have a really cool build log that would give you like everything that's going on and then some. And this gives you okay. I don't feel like it's as good as the build log. So you can click the little build button here and it gives you kind of a log what it's doing. You can see it's signing and stuff. Man, I would always want to. So when you build from the command line, a lot of times you can get, you'll get the ability to have color coding for like all the stuff that's going on. And we're getting this famous error here, which happens the first time I build. I don't know why. But then the second time, it seems like if I, well, wait, let me get this back for a second. Yeah, so the first time it fails, and then the second time it works. That is not great, honestly. But that is how it works. So you can see the first time it failed there. Now I just click the button, run button again, and now it worked. I've done some work of setting it up so if I click the logo, it automatically puts the proper username and password in. That is a hack for me because when you're testing a program over and over again, I don't like typing in the password 1,000 freaking times over and over again. Now, a couple things going on here. Let's see here. If we go to mobile, so I'm going to go to an iPhone 15. Let's just go to the... Well, the iPhone 13 mini would probably be the smallest screen. I usually like developing on the smallest and then the largest because it guarantees like my fonts and everything look right. So I'll start with the smallest and the largest. So I've got an iPhone 15 here running 15.5. That should be fine. It's really old actually, but I mean, its app should be able to run on 16 and 15 both. So see here, it's working. I have a little spacing here and here. Okay. I click the login button and that's working. So everything's good. But if we go back to that Catalyst example, let's go back here and take a look at that. You'll notice that in the Catalyst example that I have here, we're doing things a little bit different here. Look at the spacing, how much bigger it is, right? So that's something called platform-specific code in Maui. And that's handled pretty easily. Let's go take a look at our login and see if we can take a look at what I did there. So you'll see here on our vertical stack layout here, you'll see here that I'm saying on platform, which means, hey, I want to write some specific code for certain platforms. And right now it's just Catalyst. On Catalyst, I'm saying, hey, we want to make the left and right padding on this thing 300 pixels. And what that's going to do is give us that so it's a little bit more scrunched down. And you could do this on any control, really, to tell you the truth. So anything that you have, you could kind of add this in. I think I added it into... Maybe I was playing around with this a little bit, trying to get the UI look a little bit better in Catalyst. I'm not 100% happy with it, but this gives me partially way there. I made a logo for the application, and I learned this weekend that when you add resources, your SVG files, for example. So if I go to app icon here, I made an app SVG icon here. It automatically generates that as a PNG then for you, which is pretty badass cool, actually. And so the app icon on this iPhone should be different than the one that comes stock. If I double click the home button here, should be able to close it out. You can see here's the SVG icon. Of course, I haven't changed up the splash screen yet. And because it's Maui, we should have built-in support for themes, dark mode. So if we go into developer here on a simulator, if you don't know this, you can go to dark appearance under developer. And this will automatically set up dark mode. You'll see here for the settings here, I don't have anything other than the Xamarin Host Studio. That is just for debugging. If I click back in now, I should get dark mode and that's working. And so I've gotten to the point where this is pretty decent. I like it. I'm looking to take the next level here, right? So didn't really have anything in projects. So the next thing probably to do is get the menu working, right? And so that's what I'm kind of hoping to solve today. So we'll take a look here. This is something called a shell application. And the theory of shell applications are they're designed in a way that they'll come with some boilerplate code if you understand how shell works. And it takes some heavy lifting off for you, okay? They do things like shell will handle navigation for you. It'll handle building a flyout menu for you. And that's what I want to do today. I want to build a flyout menu. Let me show you what I'm talking about here because we're trying to duplicate an app that I already have. Let me see if, let's see here. Why isn't that running? Where is my device manager? Oh, that's weird. Android Studio. Get Android Studio up over here. Look a lot like Rider because it's made by, technically speaking, the same company. Give me a second here. It's trying to download a quick fix for the emulators. That's great. So my emulator won't download, or my emulator won't start, and it tells me it's missing this Google system image. That's really weird. This worked not that long ago. So I'm going to let that download real quick. But Android Studio is where I have the sample app that I wanted to show you all that I already have working. So I guess while we're waiting there for that, that's going to take a few seconds here. Let's not wait for that. Let's go take a look at some docs real quick here. So let's see here. And the example here they give you is, let's take a look what a flyout menu is. So if we look here, we can see here, this is actually the original Xamarin Forms flyout documentation. I know this because I used this before, the Shella, and it looks like they even have the same screenshots and stuff from it. So and then even Xamimals, because Xamimals was a play on Xamarin, which is the technology Maui's based on. So I'm assuming they pretty much, this works almost exactly like it used to in Forms. You'll see here that we have the shell, and then here we have a shell item, and it looks like then we also have some tabs, and then they have flyout items here, and what it would be if it's a tab. Now, this doesn't look like it's a tab. So you see here, these are flyout items, these are menu items. Menu items can have different association with them than flyout items. Flyout items usually go to a page. They're like a navigation structure, where a menu item could do other things. It could maybe bring up a web browser, if I remember right, or I might have those backwards. Let's see here. You see here that they have a title and an icon and a content template. So we see here shell content, and right here you see the content template. Then it's just saying go to this view, right? This page. I'm going to call those views in my code. So we could start out with that, but we want to get a little bit more complicated. I know this for a fact because when I show you what my UI looks like, I know that I'm going to want to need menu items also, not just the flyout items, because I need a logo button, and the logo button doesn't go to a page. It just needs to run some code. So we need that to be a command, basically. And you'll see here that this is a template that you can use for laying out. And this is the comment template that they recommend. So it's a grid. You can see here, this is a data template. Here's a grid, and it's given a little bit space, different between Android, WinUI, which would be UWP in the old version, and WinUI 3 in the new version. And then you see here, they have some common states for allowing you to have selection. So if an item's selected, how to select it. And that's what this does right here, like the background color, then the selected color. And then here you'll see here that we have the actual items themselves. So here's your flyout item, and then gives you the ability to tweak this a little bit per platform. So you can see on platform Android, we're going to have different pixel padding for iOS versus Android versus WinUI. And you can even do catalysts on here. And then this is, let's see here, this would be the image, and then this is the label for the image. And then we have the color of the label, and the margin for the label. And I get it, if you are new to XAML and you're looking at this going, this is pretty wordy. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not 100% wrong on that. And you'll see here, then this is the, you can see here that you can kind of bind it out with whatever you want. I'm not going to use collection view. I think their example works more than well enough. And then so here are menu items, right? Menu items can have the click and command, and that's why I was telling you earlier. I need this because when logout happens, it doesn't really need to go to a page. It just needs to run a command that will close the database, kill everything, and bring you back to the login screen. So I'm going to do this a little bit of trickery. This is the appearance. I'm just looking through here to see if there's anything I see that is going to kill me a little bit. This looks like it's fine. And then the header, I'm going to have a user profile image, a user profile there. So I'll probably make it, let me see here. I think this is done. Let's try my Android. All right. Well, even though this is a .NET stream, let's see if we can get this emulator looking, and I'll show you what the code looks like in Android on the learning path I have for Kotlin, and I want to make the app as close to that as possible. So here we go. Here's our emulator starting, and I'll give it a second to start here, and then I'll throw the app on it. Let's see here. Make sure that there's nothing else that I care about in notifications. That looks all right. Let's go back to Device Manager. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Why can't I? Oh, running device. Here we go. All right, here we are. All right, first of all, pro tip. First time you start up a simulator, go to here, type in 3, the number 3. Click here, search 3. And then what you're looking for, 3-button navigation. This brings back the navigation, the old school Android navigation. And that way you can have this and do this. You don't have to swipe all the time with your mouse, which is really hard. First thing I do on any simulator or emulator, excuse me, is get that working again, because that is like so much. Let's see here. Oh, the IDE, don't blow up on me, IDE. I need you to push this app out. Let's see what's happening here. is it having an issue? This should work. Let's go to the build and see what it's doing. Oh, this is a totally different version than what I have in Rider, so the UI is a little weird. Why don't I have a build icon over here? I want build variants. So this gives me the ability to see the debugger. That would be the debug icon. Yeah, see, I don't need build variants. Huh. I wonder why it's doing this. Huh. I might not be able to show you this at all, because it doesn't seem like Android Studio is wanting to build today. What's it doing? Port and clear. Okay. Maybe that's what's going on. No, I don't care about that. Let's go back to Android Studio and see if we're gonna get this thing to build. It's not being happy. It's like both of these things are stuck. That's great. Yeah, it's not really being happy. Let's try quit, exit, see if I can reopen it. We may not try this very long here. I would like to show you what the app looks like on another platform, but if this thing won't build, I'm not going to waste a bunch of time on it. See if I can get that to play. Okay, there's my emulator. Runs really fast on there we go. Now the Gradle's build's running. There we go. That's what we're looking for. That's weird. It must have just got kind of hokey on me here. But I'll say that the emulators on ARM based Mac, you know, the M1, M2, M3 processors, if you get the ARM images, man, they are super fast. It is like I mean, this is like, if you've been doing Android development for a long time, I'll tell you right now, this is like night and day performance compared to like x86, which is just terrible still to this day, if you ask me. On a Windows PC, like Android emulation is just crap. It's terrible. I have a Windows PC right over there. I mean, it's not like I have bad hardware. I have some really, really, really good hardware, but it's still just turd for performance. I know there's all this Hyper-V and this and that, but I get over 100 frames per second on video games I play. So it's and these are modern AAA. It's got like the latest Athlon processor. It's got 64 gig of RAM. It's got multiple NVMe drives or whatever they're called. It's pretty BS when it comes out. Here we go. So here's our app. Can I break this out again? Let's see. How do I break this out? No, I don't want fold. I want this to be a window so I can see it better. There we go. There we go. Now we can see it better. And this should have, you can see here, I can click login and you'll see here's my menu. So I have my user profile up here. I've got a little strip that says inventory demo, user profile, home, developer, replication, logo. In fact, let's take a screenshot of that because that's what I want my UI to look like when we're done with our shell. And if I can make it look like that, it's pretty cool. I should be able to do this. Should be able to go back in the settings here and go to dark and check it in dark mode. Turn dark theme on. Not burning my eyeballs now. If I go back to that same application, where is it? Inventory audit right here. You'll see here now dark theme's working and I should have the same thing. So you'll see here I'm on team 1. I can update my profile by selecting a image. And of course, there's no photos built in when you build a new emulator, so that sucks, unlike iOS, which at least gives you a couple. Let's say Aaron and dev. Let's put out, click save. And then I should be able to go here and see that my user profile updated. And so that's the current UI. And if I log out, log back in, you should have my information. It saved it, it's pulling from the database, real time. That's all good. If I click log out, it gets back here. All right, so that's what we're looking to try to do here. That's what we want to try to get running, and use Maui for this instead. So that gives us a pretty good idea what we're after. So now we can start to go, okay, well, how do we do that? So one, how we're tricking the UI to work. Let me get this browser closed out here, and let's just get back to code. So how I do that is in the main app, you set up all your views and stuff. This is your DI. And then what should happen is let's see here. Let me close all this so I can get down to app CS. In app CS, we check to see whether or not we get an authenticated message, and then we process authentication. If the user is authenticated, then we basically change the main app page to be the app shell. And then if the user is signed out, we turn it back to the login page. And then if it's anything else, we assume that we don't care whatever page they're on is the current page they need to be in. And we can add different workflow for different messages coming in. But right now, this is good enough, I think, to get us started. So let's take a look here. So now that we have that working, let's go in and see our shell here. So our shell, we're loading in font awesome. That looks good. But what we want to get into is our XAML code here. So here we go. Right now, our shell content is just this project view, but we need this flyout menu, right? So we need to go through and figure out that out. So I think what we're going to start with is see if we can just get the built-in. Do I need the style first? Let's go take a look at that doc and see. I think we need the style first. Let's see here. So let's go from the very top of see what the documentation recommends in this order. And then we'll do it right in order that they recommend here. So we'll start out with, they have a flyout menu. So they have cats, page, flyout item, dog page. Let's just start with the core basic here. And we'll build up. I mean, if you're new, this is how you do it anyways, right? You'd say, okay, well, cancel? Wait, what? That's weird. I've never had that before where it said that was read only. So let's go here. We want views, and this will be, we'll say this is project page. Projects view. And this is what do we call this? We're calling this local. So this would be local instead. If you're new to Xamarin, XAML, I should probably explain this. So up here, this is like XML or like HTML. I have a reference to a namespace, and that's where my code lives. Okay, so all my views live in this particular namespace. Think of it like this folder right here. These are all my views. So when I reference them, I have to use this right here, the word local, to reference those particular views. So we're going to call this projects instead. Okay, and then we have another view called developer. And let's look at our screenshot. I know I took a screenshot. So we got here. So we got developer replication logout. And instead of home, we're going to call it projects. That way we know exactly what's going on here. So we'll just get those four working. And so this would be local. And this would be developer menu view. That seems good. We're going to take the icons, just make them nothing right now, and then we'll figure out the icons after, because we're going to use font awesome for the icons. And then let's see here. We need two more items. We need replication. And this will be replication view. Replicator view. Now, the final thing we need is a menu item, not a flyout item. That's the logo option, right? So I know that from the docs that it's different, right? So if we go look here, that will get us these two. But what we need to do is look at what's the flyout options. Looking here. These are the phone. I think that's fine. I don't think I have to set that. And then let's see the appearance. This is what I was worried about. We'll have to handle afterward. We'll have to make a pattern for that. There's a default pattern we can use right here, and I've got a tweaked version of that. Where's the menu item? Here we go. So that's what the last thing we need here is we need one of these menu items. Let's see if we can just get this core basic stuff working. So we'll go here. And then technically speaking, this will be log out. I don't know what that's going to be yet. Oop. We don't have any command parameter, but we need that close tag. So we need to put a close tag here. So I'll close our XAML. And I don't think we need shell content anymore because I think it will take the first shell item. I think. Let me look at my example. I think this is fine, and I don't think I need this anymore. Let's just comment this out and see what happens. And so you comment just like you would in HTML. Let's try building this for Catalyst, see what happens. I usually try Catalyst because it's faster. At least it feels faster than I'm getting emulator. So let's see here. I've got some errors. Can I convert value icon? Can I just say no icon? Otherwise, I'm going to have to dig out code to do icons with font awesome. Let's see if that works. If you could just do it with text. And my guess is this is going to look a little like turd until we get it tweaked out. That's my big guess. It is a short week here in the US, so this will be, and I had to do a night stream instead of a lunch stream because I had some work problems I had to deal with. But I probably not be lunch streaming this week, so this is the week of November 20th. Probably won't be doing streams on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday because it is Thanksgiving here in the US. So I still get projects up, and I don't get my shell menu appearing like I want it. So that didn't work. Let's just try this on iPhone and make sure it's the same experience on iPhone, that my shell did not. See, it seems kind of weird because that, at least you'd think that the projects would not have come up. So I have no header icon here whatsoever. The hamburger menu and projects is still coming up. Even though I have the shelf configured. So let's take a look here and see what I'm missing. This is saying content template. Get that. The file options. What do I've done this before, so I'm looking to see what did I set my file options to. We might have to look at some example code here too. So it says display options. I don't think I need that. So I think I need the item template maybe. Let's add the stock item template in. I think that's the next thing I want to do is see if that resolves it why it's not showing up. I know I want a header, so let's put some code in here and see if I can get the this to show up. So we'll start out with by saying we know we want a header eventually, right? So oh wait, file behavior right here disabled. What are the options? Fly out. That's what's going on. The shell behavior is wrong. Let's add a template though here for just for our header. And this will give us 100 pixels of padding at the top, and then we can eventually throw our user there. That's what we kind of are looking for here. So that's, first of all, this is definitely the thing that's causing the flyout not to work right. Let's take a look and see how this renders. So I guess we'll start with phone. We'll see how that renders. Then we'll go over to Catalyst and see how that works on Mac and see how it renders. I do believe we want to throw in the template almost right away, though. If I remember right, this looks pretty ugly, fugly when you're using this without the template. So let's go here, just click login. There we go. There's our menu. It's not too bad to tell you the truth, right? I mean, look at that. I mean, I didn't write hardly any code for that. And we're getting a respectably not bad experience. So, and we're getting navigation in it, right? Look at this. So log out, nothing happens. Projects, nothing's happening. Let's see here. So let's add some code in to those views and make sure routing's working right. So let's go to developer menu and just say our label here says, oh no, we're gonna need a vertical stack layout. And here we'll just say, we'll have a label. And we'll say this is going to be text equals developer menu. Okay, that looks cool. I also have Copilot enabled. And let's see, horizontal options center and vertical options center. Also, this will make it centered. And I like my XAML to look kind of like this, so it looks more like HTML, a little bit easier to read. So that's our developer menu. We'll do that same thing in Replicator. So let's just copy this code, and then let's make it easier for us. And then we could test to make sure navigation is working right. And this is going to be Replicator. Okay, that's cool. And then we need to go into projects menu and make projects. So that would be projects view here. And let's just change this out to be projects here. Okay. And that will get us started here. So let's see. Let's make sure that, actually I should make sure in shell that I'm loading in all these. So project view, audit, menu, user profile view. Okay, so everything's loading in there from that standpoint. Let's go ahead and debug this again on phone and see what happens now. We'll bring this up over here. Probably need to close this out. Reopen. Gotta fix that splash screen too. There we go. So there's projects. Let's go to developer. There's developer menu. Replicator. Okay, so replicator's not coming up. So we got something typo there. And now I can't. Oh, so developer comes back. Projects is not working either. So let's go see what the heck's going on here. While we're getting, are we getting any errors in the log here? We got a dynamic cast. I have no idea what those errors mean. So that's in the info plist is set up wrong. So let's go through routes, project, audits, replicator. Then we go back to shell. Let's go through and make sure that we have this set right. Projects should go to projects view. Developer should go to developer. This is replicator view. These are all right. I mean, this is the most corner basic demo, right? Let's try Catalyst and see if we see the same problem. Go. Menu. Ooh, that padding is terrible. So replicator comes up with nothing. Developer menu comes up with something. Projects is not working. Well, that padding's pretty terrible on there. So we're definitely going to need the template to start out with, right? Because the padding seems to be really off. And then we can test Android too. Let's go to Android. And this should be the same emulator I was using for Android Studio. You could use, technically speaking, in this if you want to. You just have to have your Android SDK and Rider set up to the same location and point to the same location as the Android Studio one uses. So both Rider and them point to the same installation, then you can use the same emulator, technically speaking. And let's see here. We would have to then get the device manager open and let's see here. Nope. Is this not started? So it started. So the emulator is starting. Why can't we see it? Window. So this would be the physical device explorer. That would show us the file system, but why? Where is my, I'm looking for my, I don't see it on here, my availability to see the actual physical emulator running. 1 second here. iOS, Android, we want, that's device manager. Resource manager isn't bringing it up. Huh. Stop it and start it and see what happens. Start an AV. Oh, here we go. Huh. So it must have been like stuck because it wasn't showing it to me. Now it does. It shows it with the flyout that I kind of like. So it's here. Let's get this emulator booted back up. Let's see how the menu looks on Android there, and we can make some decisions. I think we have to bring the padding in, and then we're gonna have to do like I did like in the login menu. We're gonna have to put some padding on that menu because it looks like turd. So let's go ahead and run this, and that should then update the emulator. So let's go here. See, there we go. We can see our CBL inventory app is installed. Is it not gonna launch it for me though? I've had this problem in the past with Uno where this is weird. Maybe the debugger is just trying to start on it. Okay. Okay, developer menu. Replicator is not showing up there. Projects is navigating to it now though. Developer menu is working. Replicator, nothing comes up. Projects is working. Developers working. Replication not working. Okay. Well, I mean, that tells us we're getting somewhere, right? I also really hate light mode. Oh man, light mode is just so deafening. And this is a different version of the emulator because I don't have my 3-button navigation. So it's 3. Turn that on. Go back. Dark. Okay. We can check our app with dark mode. This should all work. That looks already a little bit better. Ah, look at the menu though. Jeez, oh Pete's. That is not working with dark mode at all, the flyout menu. Okay, well. That's some good debugging we're doing here. We can see that I'm guessing the menu items are still there. We just can't see them because the text is wrong. I don't know if that's a bug in shell or what. There we go. So I can randomly click it to where I think the pixels are for the buttons and then they work. But so man, look at this. So this is out of the box Maui 8 with shell, and this is the experience we get. So it's very much we got to figure out some stuff here, right? So let's go back to mobile now. We know that projects is flipping, developers flipping, and replicators not drawing on each platform. But specifically, I should be able to go to developer and then back to projects. And see that item is not clickable. So I don't know why, but projects, once you get off projects, you can't go back to it. And I'm not really sure what's going on there. So we've got several bugs right out of the bat that we're gonna have to try to figure out what the heck's going on with Shell. Let's try Mac one more time. Let's see here. And it seems like all the platforms based on iOS, because Catalyst is based on iOS, have the same problem there. All right, so let's start trying to tear this thing apart, so we can figure out what the heck we can do about this. Try to fix this. Let's bring Android back off and take a look here. So the first thing we know we've done wrong is, well, not wrong. They recommended having a template for the actual view, like the code that actually draws this. We also want icons. I don't think that that's causing the problem. Not having icons, because it seems like it draws the text without problems. So let's start with going back to the docs. So we got a menu working. I mean, honestly, we cut and pasted some code and it kind of works, right? So that's a good sign. So here's the flyout appearance they're saying here. So here's the item template. So they're saying could be customized with a template. They're saying you can have different templates for different items. So you can say if it's a certain type item. Here's the default template that they, the default template used for each file item is done here. And so let's start with this template. Take a look at this. Because I know I've used this before, and every single time I've used it that I can remember. Now, Xamarin, it's been several years since I've done Xamarin. I'm not going to lie to you, right? I mean, it's probably been 3 years, but something like that. But I could tell you that when I did it last, it was I had to tweak this quite a bit. So let's see here. Data template needs to go where? Where does that need to go? Let's go back to the docs and see. Okay, but where do we put this in the code? So shell content. I'm gonna assume. Okay, here we go. So here it's we need shell flyout content template is my assumption what's gonna happen. Nope. Let's look at the example. All right, let's not screw around here. I've got a couple of samples here that I know do this. And so one, I've got the Maui flyout sample. If we take a look here real quick here. This is just some sample code. And what we can do is take a look at the shell here. You see here that this is basically what I'm doing. Oh. So they have route in here. That's what they're recommending here. This is pretty interesting. Okay, flyout item. So they have a flyout icon. So that's different than I'm used to. But they have a route, and then I think that's based on the route registered. So that's the very first thing. That might be our iOS bug, that I don't have a route registered, right? So if we go look here, I don't have any routes set for this. So if we look here, we have shell, the tab. If we go look at their code, let's go grab one of those and bring it in. So here's our flyout item. This is what they're saying to do with a basic one. So it's so my code's a little bit different. So if we go here, let's compare. So they have a flyout item. We don't need the icon. And then they're saying shell content. I think I smell what they're doing here, what they're cooking here. So this would be shell content. And we would have, we just don't need a tab here. So they're saying a title, and this title would be the title on the navigation bar. So we'd say title here would be, projects, content template, and then a route. Okay, so this route would say equal to something, and that's our difference here. And so the routes I have set up in the shell code behind right here. So we would say the route goes to, so we probably want these to be uppercase, right? Because their example looks like it's uppercase. So let's try this. We'll say if that goes to projects. But I mean, in some sense, that's what the template's supposed to say, what page to bring up, right? But I guess I'm looking here, and they do the same thing. They still say content template here, right? But they're also given in a route. So this is our core basic example here. So let's go with the syntax that they're providing in the example. This is an official example, right? We don't want to be screwed around and do this wrong because the fact that we're not doing it right here. So it's get rid of tab because they're saying, and I don't need tab navigation, so that makes sense to me. So say this title. I'm going to call this developer options. Okay, and then we also need a route here. So we're going to say route equals developer menu, I think it is. Is it developer menu? What do we have here? Developer menu, let's see. Okay, and then finally, we'll do the same thing here. Let's see what this does. And then we'll add a template in because I'm pretty sure I need a template for to fix the padding and stuff. Let's call this replicator. And then we want a route here also. Route equals, okay, replicator. Is that right? Replicator, that's right. Okay. Okay. We need to get our view model. We need a view model set up for this to handle command. Have I done a shell with a view model? Or did I have, I'm trying to think of how I did this. Did I handle and click just on the code behind with a click event? Because it was just one thing and I didn't feel like the weight of the view model was heavy enough for it. I think what we could do is this could be just a click command. And we'll say, I'll go click. And then we'll tell that to generate the method for that. And I know what to do there. And then we'll go here. Okay. All right, let's test this now and see what we have going on in the world of iPhone first. Let's see whether or not by adding a route, does this fix the problem where we can't click projects, but we can in Android. One problem at a time, right? So let's go here. Developer. Replicator. The title comes up here, but nothing's coming on the page. So that may be a bug there. Projects. Projects still doesn't work. Developer's working now. Replication's working. Nothing happens with Lago. All right. Well, that's because this code here. So we can fix this also. Let's go in and send a new message. So I have some code here for sending messages. So this is what we want to do. And we would have to have the authentication service, I think. But what we want to do is just this. Import the missing references, and this will be, but authentication status is locked out. Sign out. And then the username we'll have to get from the injecting into authentication service. And we'll say we'll put a pointer to this private and only authentication service. And then we could just say here, authentication service equals authentication service. Okay. And now we should have a pointer to that. And now in here, we can just say authentication service dot current user dot username or empty string to empty. It should never be string to empty, but that is the Cheesemo way of, otherwise I have to, well, oh shoot. I'm already feeling like I'm cheesing out here. I should probably have a check for this. I should say var username equals authentication service. Oh, that should be not no current user could be no username. And we'll say if username is no or string is username. We'll set the message. Otherwise, we'll have to. Well, we should log the user out. If we don't have a username for the user, they should be signed out no matter what, right? Let's go back to just keep this code we have right now, because the more I think about this, it's like, wait, why is it mad now? What did I do wrong? Oh. That should do it there. And then I just need to go to code and I should be able to do reformat code and that should fix my code. All right, let's see here. That should fix logout. So let's go ahead and try that. That should make it so that you can log out the application. We should send a message that says we're signed out. The app should pick that up and swap it back out to the main login page. Or the login view, I should say. So if I go here, see, we log out, back in, so that's working. So when we log in the second time, it remembers the state of the shell. So we have to reset the shell state when we log out also. Let's put a to-do to this. To-do and close the shell, the file menu. Because otherwise, when you basically log back in, it remembers where you last were in the shell. Even though we're not making a new instance. We're basically just sending it to the same instance of shell. So because of that, it would remember what it had memory last time. So we're gonna have to do a to-do to that. And we'll have to probably write a message to do that. Probably is my guess. Although we are in the app shell. So wait a minute. If we're in the app shell, we should be able to say. We should be able to find the menu and close it. Let's ask, let's see here. Let's do a new chat here with ChatGPT and ask it, using a flyout menu in C# with, I'm going to ask it Xamarin because the Maui code should be the same. How do I program? How do I write C# code to manually close the flyout menu? So it's saying is present is equal to false. So let's see here. That's pretty easy. Back to our C# code. This fly. This. What do I have access to in this? I don't see a fly out there. There we go. So that should close the flyout menus. So by theory, when we open it back up in the mobile app, now it should automatically have it closed when we log out, log back in. So let's try this. So we go here, we're gonna go to projects, we'll click sign out, sign back in, see the menus closed now. So that fixes that. So we still have this weird thing where projects will not reopen, and I'm not sure why that's happening. We also have the catalyst. So let's see here. We've got a lot of defects to try to fix here. Let's take a look at this and look at catalyst. And catalyst has the same problem where we click developer, we're cool, log out, log back in. And remember, we're on developers over here. Replication is still blank. That's a bug. But when we go here, we can't go back to projects ever. Huh. That's not desired behavior. So why would the first menu item is what's failing basically? See if this is a bug. Dotnet in Maui flyout menu first item selectable iOS. And the reason why it changed is that the routes for both shell contents are the same. You need to change route to this. Route page 2. Don't know why this. Do we need multiple items or one? And that's a pretty easy bug that they did there. They show 2 here also. They show fly margin of padding and then in the status indicator here. Somebody's got a page here. They're saying, let's take a look at this real quick. Oh geez, let's not get into like a huge amount of resources right now. So let's see here. They're saying there's a flyout. So I think we need this. I'm pretty sure we're gonna want that. Let's take a look at their. So here's the item data template. I think we're gonna need a little bit more complicated. So they have each one as a flyout item. Yep. And so he's not doing the route though. Let's see here. These are all, this is the theme he probably has, right? Yep. And then he's got a footer, but I don't care about the footer code. Oof. Boy. Why Charles would even like how that looks. That thing, I don't like that color scheme he's got, but all right. So I think the first thing we have, one should pick on Dave. At least he wrote a blog article. I'm not writing a blog article, so let's not pick on Dave. He's helping. So we take a look here. The first thing we're noticing is that he had it kind of like this. Oh, that's his definition here. So he says flyout behavior fixed, and then he says So it looks like we don't need that because it's already given. And then he's saying the other thing is fly out. And that's auto. Now we can dump this. And that's our header. That's gonna be our header. Here's our item. So he does it in the blog article he did. He didn't have routes. I was hoping route would fix this, but it's not. We have logo working. I don't think the vertical scroll mode or I don't think this code's going to fix anything we have here going on here. Is it? Look at the C. Oh, there it is. There's the bug. Take a look. Ha 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 ha. It's a padding problem in the menu. Take a look here. The link is below the word projects. That's what's going on. So if I click developer here, if you click the word project, it doesn't happen. But if you click right below it, then it works. Okay. Well, this goes back to that theory I told you that I thought theming a lot on this, and I had to build my own template to fix this. And that kind of makes sense. So I'm trying to think, like, why would I have had this problem before? Why haven't I seen this before? I've done shell before in Xamarin Forms, of course, not Maui. But I mean, it's almost the same thing. So let's go to developer here. And if we go back here, if we click the word projects, it doesn't work. But if we click right below the projects, I'm guessing there is a click point, a tap point for this. Nope. That's developer. I'm tapping with my finger on the mouse all the way through here to see if I can find a tap point for it. So, but that's the theory of what's going on here, I believe, is that the tap gestures for this is wrong because of the padding or spacing on the platform. They're just not detecting it. And so I think if we set the proper template for this, how it will render things and draw things, and we get some padding and stuff in there for that platform, we probably can fix it with that. So that gives me some hope that we can fix this. So let's see here. I'm going to dump in a bunch of code. And this is going to be from a sample I did a couple years ago called, it was for AWS re:Event. There's a app I did in Xamarin Forms called Wavelength. It's a long, complicated app that I don't want to get to on the stream today, but I did it a long time ago. It's out on GitHub. And I want to just kind of, I know that template works pretty well. And I fought with it for quite a while to get it working the way I wanted it to. And so I think what I could do is, let's see here. Why do I have this commented out at the bottom? Oh, that's a shell content. We don't need that. It should automatically draw the content based on what was selected. All right, so here we go. So here's a crap ton of code. And so let's clean this code up by first telling it to read. We want to go through and reformat the code. That should reformat it so that we could read it a little bit better. So here's the item template. So let's start out with height request. In Android, we're making it 50. In UWP, 0. I think in iOS, we're going to need this also. 40. And that might be our problem with the first menu item, but I'm not sure yet. We're also going to need a platform with Catalyst. But we're going to need the padding. We're going to want padding on the... Do we want to do it on the item, or do we want to do it on the... Oh, I've got a theme here that doesn't match. I've got to find that. So I have a resource here called, well, the label color should automatically come. I shouldn't need this. Let's go take a look at what the docs say here. Yeah, so they say app theming binding is now the new thing to do. You know what? Maybe mine is not the best to start out with. Maybe this is. Because mine didn't have the new stuff that they have with theming. Let's start with theirs and see what happens. Let's just bring theirs in. Let me close this right here. And then bring the default Microsoft one in. Oh, it doesn't have the root. What's the root? Shell item template. That's what we need. And then we need to close this at the bottom. There we go. And then we can reformat it. Now let's take a look at this again and see what we got going on here. All right, here's the shell template. Starts right here. We'll just put drawing template. And I'd like to always put a link to the docs where I found this information in my code. Because if the next developer is looking at this, they're like, hey, how the hell do I do this? And it's like, well, I wonder where he got that code from. So I feel like if you are doing something that is out of the org and you want somebody to learn how you did it, then giving them the path of the breadcrumbs that you went down to is not a bad thing. So let's see here. They're saying on platform 44, Android 50, column spacing 0, row spacing 0. Background is transparent. Selected background is app theming black or white based on the dark and light mode. That may fix our, I think this may fix our Android background problem that we're seeing. So let's see here, visual states. We have column width. Flying icon. Right here is the images. Here we go. But it can't be the label because if we put an icon, which we eventually want to do at Font Awesome, we have to do it the grid because we need to shift the icon and the label over. So we'd want to do it basically at the grid level here. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to say we want to put some padding, right? There we go. Wow. Wait. I just said the word padding and like it recommended padding. I just typed in P. That is a little spook. Is Alexa on in here? Is this hooked up? Does the AI hear my voice? That was spookier than I wanted it to be. So I think we're good here. And then what we want is we want Catalyst, Mac Catalyst. This is where we want to add probably 20 or 020. Why is it just a single int? Shouldn't this be a pretty sure that's a thickness, right? And thickness would need multi-vector. It would be height. Not sure if this is gonna work because I'm pretty sure padding is a thickness. Where's my login view? Padding is a thickness. And so then it needs multiple values, right? So it's not a single value. So I don't think that's going to work. I don't think that's going to fit Catalyst for us. Let's see if... okay, now that's interesting. The selected item is now white, which is not great. And projects is still not selectable in iOS. Okay, we're I don't know if we went forward or backward on this. Let's check Catalyst and see what happens. See if we get see if it squishes over or not. Holy turd. That looks terrible. Okay. So that did not work the way we wanted it to work. In Catalyst looks like turd now. It looks worse. So let's see what we could do on this theme to make Catalyst look better. Let's get rid of login view, go back. And go back to the shell here and take a look here. So we're saying padding here, height request. We probably, so platform here, we're saying for all platforms except for Android, do 44 for the height request. And for Android, do 50. I think we're gonna have to do more for that Catalyst. We're gonna have to do 80 maybe. Column spacing and row spacing. iOS. Catalyst 20. I'm just kind of curious as this. I don't think this project problem, the first item is that. I think this is a different bug they have. It seems almost like an array index problem, right? But it's kind of weird because in Catalyst, it doesn't look like an array index problem. It just looks like the first item is rendered wrong. So there, I can click on it. You just have to know where the item is. And then so okay, this is actually starting to make sense because if you look at the shift, we told it to throw it out here, but this is not a flyout. This is this is only for flyout template. It's not for the menu items. And so that's why logout view, when we look at it, logout view is just fine. It's still sitting over here, way over here, which is a different problem I'm gonna have to solve, right? Because and honestly, this munged Catalyst is pretty bad. And if I take out the padding, does it fix it? Because obviously that padding is really rough. Let's just take out padding like this, and if I just go like this and see what happens. Let's see what Catalyst does now. Got to watch my time here because I know I have supper here in a little bit. Okay, that's almost like it didn't read the XAML file because I clearly made it change, but I don't see that change. Now that could be this also over here. Column definition. Catalyst auto. Let's add that. I think Catalyst is going to behave more like WinUI than it's going to be. No, because it's iOS, so it should behave more like iOS than it does like WinUI. Because Catalyst really is just an iOS application compiled down, or iPad application compiled down for Mac. But that's the icon anyways. I don't even care about that. I only care about right now. I care about this right here. So font size, I could say Mac Catalyst, make this 20, right? And WinUI, the same thing, because those are laptops. Mac Catalyst, bold. And then let's see here. So I think this will fix, you can see here, the label clearance stuff. I think this is fixing the Android problems already. You can see in here. You can tell already, I mean, they've got some customizations for Android. Let's try this again and see what happens now. I took the padding out. The height request might be killing us though. See, look at this. It's like it's not stopped running. It like remembered the state I was in. That bugs me a little bit. Oh, that looks a lot better, actually. I like the font. Okay. But I probably can't. Okay, I can click on project now. And look, you can see the click space there because of the selected. So we got to fix the selected. The text when it's selected is wrong. And then also the font for logo is really bad because of that. We still got to fix this damn padding. But at least projects is clickable now. Let's try this on iPhone and see what happens. So this is Maui in a nutshell. You spend a lot of time going through and trying to tweak platforms to get it working. Where, you know, you could say, well, geez, all that tweaking you did on platforms. Could you just write this in Swift UI faster and then a separate Android app? Maybe. If you're a .NET developer and you don't know those languages, no. The answer is no. So projects is still not working no matter what on iOS. No matter what I do. And there's all kinds of tricks I could try to fix this that all seem like they'd be kind of snarky. I almost want to ping David on this from the Maui team to see if he can explain to me why this is happening. I don't think it's because of the icon. So let's go through here and take a look at selected to start out with, right? So if we take a look here, here's the comment. So we want to look at the visual state groups, okay? The visual state groups are going to tell us when an item, certain thing, what to happen, right? So if we see here, here's common states, normal, and then here's selected. So what we're saying is the background color is this, okay? But the problem is we also need the text color to also change. So we need setter, property, and text color or color. What do we have? Options. Is it color? Is this like CSS? Value equals app theme binding. And we'll say light equals white and dark equals black. Right, because we want the color to be the inverse of what the background color is. Now, the only thing I don't know is the text color property. See, it's called text color here. And I think this is what's killing us here. I don't know if that's going to work, if it's going to override. This may be another thing to ask. Yeah, I don't have I'm not in the Copilot beta to ask it how to do this, but we can ask whatever Copilot. Or we can ask ChatGPT. So we're in a visual state for selected in a flyout menu. Let's go back here. Using a C# and a flyout menu, setting the selected. Oh, let's ask it how. ChatGPT is all about asking the right question. How do I set the the text color when in a flyout menu item when the item is selected in a, what is this called? In shell in C# using Xamarin Shell. Okay, the shells automatically has that. It's saying, okay. This is probably wrong. They can't make it this hard. I have a hard time believing it that it's this hard. I mean, would Microsoft do that? Let's go look at the because that's Xamarin. Let's go check and see for the king here. So this is the menu item template. So basically, you have to do both a shell template and a menu item template if you want them to match. And we'd have to do kind of similar layout and feel for it, so that the login menu or the logout button would work the same way. So let's see here. The following is definition of the style classes. So it says image layout. So the problem is that we want it only when, let's try text color, see what happens, because they're saying here property text color. But we'd have to have the target as a label. Let's take a look here. This makes me feel a little bit better. Let's try this and take a look here at our code. So we're saying visual state, the target would be, so we're trying to set let's try that. Worst case scenario, doesn't work. Then the, I mean, I know some hacks to get the menu working, but I don't want to do those hacks unless I have to. Yeah, see, we're going to blow up because it's saying that I bet you couldn't find the label, that text. Yeah, see, specified cast is not valid. So that means a serialization problem. I know you're going to say, well, that didn't say that at all. It's like, no, if you've done this long enough, you know that basically this cast is not working because it tried to find that and it did not exist. So I don't think text color exists either. Yeah, see, so it can't find it. So it's a grid property that it's looking for. And that's going to be the issue at hand here. Boy. Are they really going to make this that hard? Let's just go here and take a look here. So let's kill this again. And let's go take a look at the rest of their code. So it's really looking like we have to fix this on the item itself. So let's look at the font. Let's see here. So they say here, this is where they're setting the color of the font. Text color on platform. Problem is how do we get is checked basically? How do we know that the item is checked to know that we need to do this? That's the real problem, right? This shouldn't be that hard. And let's see here. This is the thickness of the margin between the fonts. So this will at least get it building again, but we're going to be in the same state. Let's take a look and see what Android's doing right now. It seems like the only platform that actually works out of the box with Maui, without trying to tweak the crap out of it, right? Boy, how the tables have turned, because back in the old days, Android was like a mess in Xamarin Forms, and then it just crashes. Wow. That is... Wait, does iOS crash? That's a negative. Okay, so that's definitely not happening in iOS. Go back to Android. Try another run. And a reminder, I'm not doing anything super complicated here at all. Let's see. Do I get logcat? Is there a logcat in Writer? Let's go to see if we can see logcat. Tools window logcat. All right, let's see here. Let's see if we could get this to happen in log close app. Do a debug. Okay. Getting a bunch of stuff from the log console. Let's so we can figure out why this is breaking. Okay, so it's saying right here that there's a cast exception. So that would tell me that something in the theming that we have, one of the numbers is cast wrong. So let's see if we can figure out which one it is. And I just cut and paste this from the examples, right? So on platform, can we find the... Look and see if I can find, at least in the call stack, like which one of the controls did it. Well, here's the type converter. Okay, so, but which control? Node, a template. So this is the shell recycler view, because it's making a recycler view for the shell. But it doesn't tell me which one. So one of these Android lines is wrong. One of these Android lines is basically causing a typecast problem, where it's an integer, but it needs to be something else, or it needs to be a double, and it's something else. So the first thing we probably want to do is look at things that are Android only and turn them off. Okay, let's see what's here. Boy, it could be this margin. Let's do this. Is it not going to let me comment that out? Or is it just Writer not updating the code? Because that should be green now. Or can I not comment out stuff inside of a template? Should be able to. It's just going. Oh, here's at least Logcat showing up now. What is it doing? Okay. Just trying to do something. Is it actually running? No. Yeah. It's locked. See, look at it's it is broken. Okay. Nothing's running now, it says. But now the problem is Ryder's stuck in trying to debug this thing. Try to cancel the build. See if they do a cancellation token. The computer's saying no, it looks like, because I don't see this thing canceling at all. Yeah, it's not able to talk to Android. Just tell it to cancel. That's my guess. That is my guess, is that it's not able to talk via the there's an internal network port that it talks to over on ADB, and my guess is that that has been shattered. That's what happened in the past with Visual Studio for the Mac when this would happen on the same kind of problems. So it doesn't seem like the debugging experience has gotten any better here from a tooling standpoint, because I didn't do much. No, I can't blame Microsoft for this because they don't make Rider. But obviously this is some kind of, and I can't blame, honestly, I can't blame Rider 100% because .NET 8 is not supported officially. So if I'm going to blame Rider, it's like, well, they're going to just say, well, why are you using a platform we already told you is not fully supported? Let's try this again. I'll try reopening Rider and see if this fixes it. See if we can now launch and see if it still blows up in the Android land. And it's going to have to restart the emulator all over again. Oh, it still sees it running. Okay, maybe we get lucky here. Here's my emulator. Let's go to build and see what happens this time. We want build. We want to build. I don't have enough screen real estate to get all the icons on here. So it's trying to, okay, so it found that, you can see here, it's finding the emulator. So that's good. That means before I think it was locking up here. But it found the emulator, so now it should be able to package up the AAB Android application bundle. And we bombed out still. And let's see if we can find out what happened this time. It's still one of these failed, is my guess. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's still saying that there's a conversion problem here, that something we have inside of the theme for Android is bombing out. And I will remind you, this is the default template we took from Microsoft's documentation. It's not something I just made up. All right, so what do we do here? Whew. Well, we got to figure out which one of these is causing it. Now, I tried to comment this one out, and it didn't. And it looks like now it's seeing it, but that didn't do it. So the next thing we do is we comment out more. So we'll add the font family to that, because that's a pretty quick win, and see whether or not that still causes the application to, and unfortunately this is the world we live in, where we're going to have to like comment out some code until we figure out which one of these is breaking it. And we probably should put a bug in on the documentation. Okay, there it is. Nope, we're still getting a exception on the platform stuff. And this is going to bomb the application out. I guess the application is going to bomb. No, it didn't bomb this time. It just locked up. So you can't do anything with the application. All right, well, so that tells us one thing. This font is not right here. This could not typecast out the font. So that's the first thing we know is the problem. So let's take this out. And we still have another problem. Oop, not that. I wanted to do this. So I think this margin is cool. Coolio. Okay. Now we still have something else in Android that's causing the crash. So now we have to try to go through our code and figure out like what would we turn off to see what's going on. So height request I know is not a problem. Row spacing I know shouldn't be a problem. Well, we don't set it there. But I've used height request before in Android. That's not a big deal. So that's something I've used before. I know it's probably not causing this. Column definition on platform. The width, I'm pretty sure that's not causing it. The icon being blank could cause it. I don't think the font size is causing it. I've been there before. So what are the things I don't know? I don't know the color. And I know it's not margin. So let's take the color out next. And I'm just using laws of things that I know I've used before. So I know that these are probably not suspect of being the thing that's breaking Android. But it makes sense to me that this theme stuff is not working. And in different Android platforms, there's may or may not be support for themes. So that also kind of makes sense to me. There it is. We're not bombing anymore. And the menu is completely white. I'm sorry. I'm laughing with you guys, not at you guys, right? That's just hilarious that the background color does not work at all. So we gotta take a look at that, but it's not bombing anymore. So look here, we know now that this is what's causing it. This label color on Android's not working at all. Because if I do that, I get an exception fault, right? In fact, we could just do this. We can go back to closing the Android application completely. Now, there's something to be said about, does their documentation say, okay, let's step back for a second. We cut and pasted their example in, right? And their example, did they give us a definition for this app binding for the theme? If they give us a theme file and we're not using it, that's on us. Shame on us, right? Shame on me because I didn't use it. But if they tell me to use this and then they don't have it in their example, that's shame on them. Let's see here. Okay. So it's right here. And they don't give you the template for this. So this binding right here would be coming from a theme. And so that should be, to me, this is built in. It should be built in at least, because that's what I'm reading here. Because otherwise they tell you right here, it's appearance. They tell you need to bring this style in. Or here we go. Style flyout menu. Style 3 classes automatically applied. Okay. So where's our style? Sir saying the following shows example of style for these three classes. I think that's just an example. I don't think they're saying that, and we're not um really changing those values on these. Flyout item layout style. We are actually kind of changing that, but we don't. It doesn't say anything about theme here. I think those are just examples. Okay, footer. Let's see if there's anything else. Nope, nope. Background color. They're giving us some gradients. Background image. We don't need a background image. That's behavior. Vertical scroll. Here's the item selection. Visibility. That's it. That's all we got. Let's look at the example they have for a more complicated one. Hey, Mono. Maui has been okay. It's about as one. Welcome back to the stream. It's about as frustrating as Evan Forms was. Maybe that's a good definition of it. Yeah, I don't think that much has changed from the frustration level here, where like certain things just don't work out of the box. Like the example here is I'm having a really big problem getting Android to work right with just cut and paste the documentation from Microsoft's website on the flyout. So it comes down to this type. They're saying this is what you need to get Android to do different colors for the text on when it's dark versus light mode, but it just bombs out on my emulator running API 33. I want to say, I think we're on API 33. Are we? We're on API 33, which I know has Steam support, right? And the other thing that happened was we had another one of these. We had to comment out because it was also breaking Android right here, the font. So the font doesn't work either. So both of these are the things that they say to do to customize this. I just cut and paste the code, and then Android bombs the second that I do that. So these are two things that are definitely broke in the docs that are telling you how to do a flyout menu. But really, the bigger problem is now our flyout menu doesn't have a background color. So this right here is not working, which would kind of go with the theory that this app theme binding is not working in Android at all. Because if you look here, these two properties are both app theme bindings, and neither one of them seem to work at all. In fact, my guess is that if I set this on platform specific, I'm guessing this would probably just start working. And so I'd probably have to do something like I'd probably have to wrap this around a platform is my guess. And if I just change it to a certain color, my guess is that this would work. But it begs more the question of like what the app theme binding is in Maui and why it's not working in Android specifically. So in Android, this should run a background color that should be obviously light or dark. But no matter what happens in Android specifically only, the menu is completely white, no matter what. Womp, womp, womp. Don't go past go, don't collect $200 kind of thing. So that is a really weird thing that's going on. In iOS, we have a different bug where in iOS only, the projects, the very first menu item in the flyout, the click event doesn't work on. I don't remember running into this bug in Xamarin Forms. I remember running into some other bugs, but this first, one, the selection also is not working, the color selection. But if I click projects, the first menu item, you can never click on it no matter what. The other menu items work. I can click between them and log out. Its click event works. But no matter what, you can't click on the first menu item. Um, in Catalyst, what I've discovered is that with the built-in theming, I can't click on projects either unless I make the font bigger. And then what it turns out is that the click right here is below almost like the word. Then I could click on projects. But clicking directly on it, unless I make the padding bigger, doesn't work. And so what I did was I went into the code here and did some on-platform stuff on Catalyst to add in some more height to the row. And that made it clickable on the first one. Now I could say, you know, here, iOS. I should do this instead. Although at this point in time, that would just be WinUI, right? If we're saying that the height request is what fixed iOS, we could, by theory, I just built Catalyst instead of iOS. Oops. Yeah, that's just Catalyst again. But if we're saying that this height is what fixed it, right? And that's a height problem, which I don't think is iOS is the problem at all. Then increasing the height to the same thing as Catalyst would fix it. Because technically speaking, Catalyst is just an iOS application, right? It's just a wrapper, Mac application around... it's an iOS application with a Mac wrapper on it. So now if I go here, go to developer, go back to projects. See, projects is still not clickable. There it is, though. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Son of a beeswax. It's the same problem. Projects, you have to click down here. So, nope, that's developer menu. Let's see if I can click on it. There it is. So it's a very bottom part of the word project. So if I let me go to replication. So see where my mouse arrow is? If I click up here, this is developer. But if I click the word projects, nothing happens. If I click right below the word projects, right below it, then project comes up. So this is, once again, some kind of like styling problem in Maui where they have the styling set up or the gesture. Something's happening where the event, where the label is not what they're clicking on, right? Now, there's several fixes for this. 1 second. Oh, my wife is texting me. What is she saying? I do have to end the stream soon because my wife just told me that we're supposed to be going to supper. I've been streaming for a couple hours and I'm getting called out. All right, well, let me finish this thought real quick here, and I think we'll come back to this tomorrow on the lunch stream when we get back to the normal lunch stream time. So iOS, so it's definitely a problem within the renderer of how the renderer is handling this. Now, in Microsoft's defense, they give you documentations on how to make your own. I'm using the built-in code for handling all the things like the selection and that kind of stuff. How the grid should render and stuff is all be done by their code, right? I'm just using their built-in stuff. What they give you though is they give you the option to define your own renderer here. So you can replace the entire content with your own grid, with your own thing that you will handle your own stuff, right? And so by theory, I could just make my own flyout content. And then my flyout content, I could basically build it to be whatever I want, right? And by theory, if I were to do this here, you can see here, this is showing, we're getting flyout items, and we're gonna loop through those collection, and then we're gonna say, here's the title, and we could put a font in there or an icon in there, stuff, right? And then it would be my code that's handling the selection. And by theory, I could fix the iOS bug of the rendering where the label somehow is broken. However, the built-in stuff shouldn't be broken. Out of the box, your built-in stuff should just work, right? And I could take the theme out and it still happens, right? So that's the other thing. So if I take out, so what I did was this item template right here. Okay, this is the code I put in from their docs. I could take the item template out, and then at this point in time, I'm not using any of Microsoft's item template code at all. So I just have to go to item template and comment this out. I have another comment in here that's going to kill that comment. The world of XAML. Let's see here. Let me find out which comment is killing that comment. This comment right here. That was fixing Android. And then we have to take this comment out, which is also fixing Android. Okay. I can take the whole entire item template and say, I don't want this. I'm going to use the built-in crap. Here's the built-in stuff. Nothing special. It's like 5 items. That is it, right? we go back to the core basic, that should work out of the box, in my opinion. Without the item template, this is the core. Your unit test should be testing this out of the box, right? This is the core experience that somebody building an application would do. They would build a menu. It has nothing special on it, just words. And the experience is there's developer. I click on projects and nothing happens. So that's the default experience without any item template. It still doesn't work. And Catalyst, it's even worse, right? So if I go to Catalyst, the menu is super small and jank over in Catalyst land. So you see here, it's kind of squished over. If I go to developer, if I go back to project, nothing happens in project. You have to kind of try to click on it at the very end of where between project and developer, and then it works. So it's definitely a padding problem with it. And then Android, technically speaking, actually works okay out of the box without any of the item templates. It's Android so far, the weird part, has been the most stable platform, which in my experience with Xamarin Forms was not it at all. It was the exact opposite. I spent more time customizing Android than anything else. But you'll see here white nothingness also out of the box. API 33. No worky. Now, of course, I can change my theme. So if I go to settings, change it back to light mode. I'm blinding everybody. I apologize for that. Because there's no theme binding, this is just going to work. Because it'll be text on black. All right. You also see that the spacing's way out here in Android compared to iOS and the other platforms. But then everything works. It only works in light mode, though. So if you have dark mode, womp, 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 you can't. Good luck. So that tells me that the theming, that the app binding theme or app theme binding is not working in Android at all, right? When the OS supports it. So that's my what I think is going on with Maui right now. I think it's saving you some stuff, but also it's still a lot of weird jank bugs that you have to kind of work around to get it working. But yeah, Android, woo-woo, you know, it's I mean, I don't know. Will this be faster than 1 second here, I have to message my wife. Will this be faster than building a native Android application, native Swift UI application? I don't know the answer to that. That's why we're doing this. We're going to find it out real quick. Because I already have a native application. I already know how long it took me to build my native Android version of this application. In fact, Android Studio, I showed it off at the beginning of the stream, but I actually have this very same application written in Kotlin running on multiple devices without problems. It actually works ridiculously well, very fast. Jetpack Compose is what it's written in, and Jetpack Compose is a unbelievably great platform for building mobile apps. And I'm not saying Maui isn't either, but I don't know how much CRUD I have to go through in order to try to get this working. So where is this? Why is this not coming up? I would say that Android Studio, this emulator stuff has been not great. Since the latest update, the emulator doesn't seem to be like the running devices doesn't seem to always see my emulator. And sometimes I have to debug multiple times for it to start the emulator and then pop it up. And this is now that it's built into the IDE versus it used to be a separate window that came up and they do an ADB command to show it up. And I think it still runs a Q emulation. There. So see now I basically turned off the emulator, turned it back on, and now it works again. But like randomly in Android Studio, this has probably been my least favorite thing that happens there, where the debugger kind of every once in a while just goes bonkers on me. But here's my application running, and here's my flyout menu, for example, in Android, working without problems natively. So I'm just trying to get the application looking the exact same as it does natively in Maui. And the same thing will be with Swift UI, right? We want to try to get Maui working the same way that Swift UI looks. So far, I think that sure, I'm getting a bunch of platform code for free, but when the platform code doesn't work, is that really the experience you're looking for? I mean, I don't know. But we got to figure this out, right? So we'll go through and on lunch stream tomorrow, we'll re-put the template back in. I'll read a little bit tonight after supper about this whole app. I think something comes down to I'm convinced that this app theme binding is not working in Android specifically. So there's got to be a bug fix for this, or a workaround. Maybe like the layout files need to be set up, and that's what's going on. It can't find it in the Android layout files code. I'll figure that out. And on lunch stream tomorrow, we'll go through that and see if we can't get this to actually render properly. So thanks everybody who stuck the last couple hours on the stream with me. I do have to run to supper, so I'll see you guys later tomorrow.